Like it would be like even with their other movies, like when I first heard they were coming out with the Hunchback of Notre Dame, I was like, that's like almost like a horror movie almost. You know what I mean? And you wouldn't think they'd do something like that, but they put it. Actually, that movie wasn't too bad either. They put a pretty good twist on it. Same thing, a book by Victor Hugo. It's all of their stories, and yeah, like you were saying, they are mostly based on literature. It's mainly to get kids interested in that type of story, even though they probably won't end up reading the book until they're older anyway. But the fact is, you know, Disney did their best with what they could do, and yeah, there's a bit of a reach, but I think they did what they could do with it and made it very interesting and funny. And see, the way I think any comedy cartoon, I guess you could say, should be made is that so both generations can enjoy it. The little kid laugh at all the jokes, and then the parents can laugh even harder at the jokes. Because if you watch movies, say like Shrek, there's a lot of undefined innuendo if you actually listen closely to this movie. Kids wouldn't get that, but Shrek has its touchable parts in that movie that are actually pretty funny, and like it just goes on and on with that. And the way that Disney puts everything together, and the way Pixar does everything together, and DreamWorks and everybody like that, you can take a story like that and make it your own, and it can make huge box office cash if both generations enjoy it, and that's what The Lion King does with this film.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely. So what would you, I'd say, give, well actually, first of all, I guess what we should discuss is, what would you have picked, if not The Lion King, out of our selections this month?
If not The Lion King, I would probably have picked, actually I did think I picked Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yes, that's the very first full-length Disney animated feature.
Just, you know, it's, when you actually look at the scope and the time that they made it in, and like you think of when they made that movie,
1939,
and the scale and scope they did it in, it's a little overwhelming when you think of the project that they would have had to go through to make that
exactly
movie.
Nowadays, you know, you maybe appreciate the animation, but you know, you're like, it's another animated movie. But if you actually think about what went into the very first animated movie, it's amazing. And if you've ever seen Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, it's actually pretty dark at points.
It's like the parts with the evil queen and everything, and the her being put into that deep sleep with the apples. It's very dark, and a lot of old children's stories, like the ones that they used to make Disney movies out of, all the old Disney movies and a lot of the newer ones, like you said, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, come from very dark material.
Exactly, like the Lion King, like, you know, like there's death in the Lion. There's actually, in every Disney movie, there is some form of death. Even the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, with the evil queen, and then you got obviously Snow White.
Snow White's father dies.
Yes, exactly, and Bambi. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like some people just freak right out when Bambi's mother dies. Like it's just, and I didn't blow anything because that happens in the first couple minutes of the movie, so freak out, okay? So anyway, the fact is, all the stories are dark, and in one form or another. You know what I mean?
That's one thing. Actually, one thing I think Disney has lost is that, and that was also a little bit of a touch that they had, was they were children's movies and they had a great message, but they sort of had a really, I don't want to use this word, but a sort of a gothic tone to their
Yes,
work.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
like traditional goth, like ancient English gothic tone to their work.
Yeah.
And I really think that they've lost that.
Yeah, like in the newer ones, it's mostly comedy based now.
Yeah.
And like the newer ones are starting to sort of get back into that sort of thing, like with Wall-E, but that's mainly, you know, Pixar. Like I don't know how, I haven't seen Wall-E yet, but I mean, there's some movies that do have their, you know, their hit in there, but there's just something about the older Disney movies that seem more gothic and epic, and when you went to a theater, you were like pumped to see these movies.
Yeah.
Like when I saw Beauty and the Beast, the part where you see the Beast for the first time actually scared me when I was a kid. Like it freaked me out.
And if you've ever read like any original versions of Beauty and the Beast, it is an incredibly dark and like a little bit uneasy story to read.
Exactly, like all those very gothic storytelling from Disney, like period, you know.
Yeah. And and I honestly think that was something I appreciated as a young person. I appreciated a sort of, Disney wouldn't necessarily, that's another thing I think, that's probably what it is Disney, it seems like now they're talking down to children. They're not, they, like, with those old movies, they had those dark gothic tones, they had those...
And death and stuff.
Yeah,
That's what helped kids sort of, I guess, deal with it, I guess, more easier, I guess.
Deal with some of those uglier parts of life.
Yeah.
And now they're shielding children from it and using these really watered down stories, and,
yes.
and they don't have that same hit and that same darkness and
yeah.
that same...
Like, yeah, exactly. Like, once in a while they'll come out with one. Like, actually, one movie I really did enjoy that was a very newer one was Brother Bear. Have you seen Brother Bear?
I have seen Brother Bear.
Actually, Brother Bear is a very good story. Like, there is dark moments in there too. It's actually one of my favorites as well. One of the newer ones from Disney.
It has Wall-E too has its dark points.
I haven't seen it, but
for a science fiction movie, you think of it along the line of the robot love story is interesting, but the one thing for me that really kind of showed that old Disney gothic tone to it is the attitude they take towards humanity.
Yeah.
In that, without humanity being forced to do anything and we have everything a lap luxury, humans become lazy, detached creatures.
So anyway, out of I guess 5, what would you rate this, Fergy?
I'd give it about a 4.2.
A 4.2. That's interesting. I'm gonna give it a 4. So combined it makes it a 8.2 out of 10-star rating for us. So The Lion King's an excellent movie. We recommend seeing the other ones though, like not just Snow White, Aladdin. Robin Williams is hilarious, one of my favorites. I believe that's what I voted for. And what were the other? Toy Story, first 3D animated feature. Again,
and honestly, the list of classic Disney movies is as long as your arm.
Yeah.
So go and watch any of them. Try to avoid the crappy sequels.
Please.
Try to avoid the crappy sequels. You know, watch Cinderella. Don't watch the sequel. Watch
or 3.
Yeah, or 3, or any of the crappy direct-to-DVD
Cinderella
sequels.
3.
Yeah. Watch Lady and the Tramp. One of my favorites.
Oh, Lady and the Tramp is awesome.
Watch any of those classic old Disney movies.
They're all almost good.
You never, even as an adult, you will never get tired of those movies.
Every time my mom sees Sleeping Beauty on the TV, she always calls to tell me it's on there because that's one of her favorites. Like, I can actually sit down with, almost anybody can sit down with their parents and watch the Bugs and Tweety show because it's just funny, and every parent and kid just, I don't know what it is, it's just something about cartoon violence is just unbelievably awesome.
and the predictability.
Yes, exactly. And it's bonded with violence, which is, awesome.
Human nature at its best.
Human nature at its best, yes.
Okay, so, yeah, we should probably go to a commercial.
We should.
Orange. Oh, well. Lemon.
Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Whatever. Come on. Oh.
Watermelon.